Let us start with CKA from scratch. So I will be providing you the links for these repositories in the video description. So when we get started with this CKA from scratch repository, you can see the initial thing we have to do is our environment setup. In this series, we are going to set up our environment initially in kind, and then we will also look at other sources where we can practice the CKA better. So kind is a tool that lets us to set up a Kubernetes cluster in our local machine using Docker. So it creates a Kubernetes cluster inside a Docker container, which is almost similar to the clusters we run for our big applications. Now we need three tools initially, which is kubectl, that is to communicate with our cluster, and kind, that is a tool that creates a Kubernetes cluster locally, and the Docker. Let us check it. So when we go to the repository and go to the environment setup directory, we can see a readme file where we can run commands to see if we have these tools. So currently I am having these tools in my local, and if you are not having these tools, do not worry. We have an easy way of setting this up. So you can see currently there are three tools which are installed in my local, and you let us also check whether we have Docker running or not. Yeah, it is in active condition. Now, if we don't have these tools, there is another repository which is one-click Linux. So in this, when we go here, we can see in the README section, we have a single command to install the tool. For example, if we want to install Docker, we can just copy paste this entire in our local, so it will install the Docker. And if you want to install kubectl, we can just copy paste this command in local. And for kind, we can run this command in local. So once we run these commands, we will have the tools, and we can check the versions using these. So now, as we have confirmed, we have three tools and the Docker is also running. Let us create a cluster. So this one, initially when you are running this, it will take time. Now you can see it's moving faster, but it will take time because the image which is used to create the cluster has to be pulled, and it is not small. So if we just run Docker images, we can see the size of this image is 980 MB. So it will take some time to pull in the first place. Once you have it in local, further you can easily run these clusters. So you can spin up or delete in few seconds. Now we can see that there is a cluster running. So I have kubectl installed, and kubeconfig will be automatically mapped to this cluster when we are using kind and create a cluster. Now let's just run kubectl get pods. You can see it will obviously be mapped to the default namespace, so there are no pods in there. But if we just use hyphen capital A, you can see in the kube system there are some pods running, and they are just spin up 30 seconds ago. So this is the initial setup we are going to do, and using kind, Docker and kubectl, we can run a small cluster in our local machine for practice. So we can also delete the cluster if we don't want now. After the practice, if you want to delete the cluster, you can do that, and we can also see what are the clusters we have created. We can create multiple clusters as well at the same time, which we will be doing in coming videos. And these are similar to the commands we use in our production cluster. So we have one node set up with this uh, kind. Now let us delete this cluster, and when we want to work again in our coming videos, let's spin up again the new clusters, so we will not just waste the resources in local. See, now there is no uh, cluster. We can just check it, kind get clusters, no clusters found, and if we run this command, it should throw the error. Yeah, so that's all for this video. See you in the next.